Welcome into another episode of the OKPreps Verbal Commit. I'm Michael Knight, and I'm sitting down with Kansas commit and Union wide receiver Kyler Pearson. Kyler, before we get into Kansas and your commitment to the Jayhawks, we got to talk about high school ball first. Let's go back to last season. Making the move, you played as a sophomore at Putnam City. Your dad was coaching there as well. He decides to go back to a familiar territory, back to Union, where he was an assistant before. He helps the staff last year. You go back to Union as well. Talk about that transition for you. I got to think that it was probably a little bit easier considering you were familiar with Union before.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot easier. I knew all those guys there. I still knew all the coaches. There's a couple new faces, but it was very easy to come back and hop right into things just because I knew everybody and they welcomed me right back in. They were excited to have me back because I'd played with them since I was in second grade.
Yeah.
So it was very easy, but I'm also happy that I got to play as a sophomore at PCO because I got to experience, fast varsity football at a young age.
Right.
Hop right back into it, and then it was a whole different area, so I got to experience different people, different things, and I'm happy how it worked out.
Now, you mentioned we're going back to Union last year. Did you expect to have that kind of immediate impact on this offense? Because, you were playing pretty early on, and, as a new guy at wide receiver, it's hard to get into the rotation there, but you were part of it pretty early on.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I expected it, but I expected that of myself. I wanted to come in and make an impact right away. I want to do that wherever I'm at. It just so happened that they looked to me more than I thought they would, because usually Union will just ground and pound you, and
right.
We kind of threw the ball a little bit more last year, and I was the first option, and it just worked out like that.
Now, your quarterback, Peyton Thompson, he graduates, and you're working with a new guy now. Talk about that position. I don't know if the QB battle is still going on, but talk about your relationship with the quarterbacks who we might see on Friday night.
I think you'll see three. We have a sophomore, Rovan, and then he'll come in behind JD and Trent. That's the main battle right now, but you'll still see some of Rovan. He's a freak athlete. But JD and Trent is the definitely quarterback battle, I would say, and right now they're both tugging on each other, but it's just making us better because they're making each other better. So it'll work out, and I think you'll see all three of them this year.
Is it, I don't want to, knock the quarterback battle itself, but is it difficult for you as a wide receiver to get into a rhythm to, go from playing with one guy to playing with a different? Obviously, they have different styles, things like that. They throw the ball differently. Is it difficult to get into a rhythm as a wide receiver?
Yeah, sometimes it can be, just because one of them might be more to go to you, and you can kind of predict where they're going to go just because they play differently. But we've kind of figured that all out, because I'll get them on the weekends, and all four of us will go and throw, and it just helps us build a better chemistry, and it'll work out whichever one's in. I'll know how they play, and I can respond to what they're going off of.
Now, last season, the way it ended, dude, I'm sorry. I'm a Union grad, but even I was like, this is one of the craziest games I've ever seen in my life. How much have you guys used that as motivation this offseason?
It's been a ton of motivation, just because we don't want, we saw how all those seniors went out, and how emotional it was for them, because we came into that game and I feel like we did a pretty good job of what we were supposed to do to win that game. It just so happened that it didn't work out for us.
Right.
But we use that as motivation probably every day. None of us want to go out like that again. So.
Now, this offseason, let's talk about your recruitment, because, as far as your play on the field, you're definitely fast in space, but you're not the biggest guy at all. What kind of expectations did you have when it came to your recruitment, and what you were hearing from colleges? What kind of expectations did you have to play college basketball, college football?
I knew right away I wanted to play D1 football. I quit all my other sports just because I had a bunch of passion for this game. And my brother played D1 quarterback at Air Force, and he told me he thinks I would be good enough. The only thing was just going to be my size, and people are going to probably overlook because of my durability. But I mean, I don't think I've set out any games since my sophomore years, and I've been banged up. But my recruitment was pretty slow. I've talked to multiple D1 coaches, D2, and they all really liked me. They love my route running, they love my speed, but all of them fell back onto I'm too small. But Les Miles, whenever I went to the camp, he didn't care. He's like, I've gotten beat by guys like you, so
right.
It was cool. So I just liked him a lot right from the get-go, and that's why I went with Kansas.
Was that your first offer as far as KU?
Yeah, that was my first offer, and I told him I didn't care about any others. I was going to Kansas.
So when he offered, I mean, because I'm always interested in two things. I'm always interested to hear the stories of that first offer because you're never going to forget it.
Yeah.
Years down the line, you're always going to remember it. But at the same time, I'm always interested in the timeline from when that school offered to when you go ahead and make the commitment. But you're telling me there wasn't any timeline. It was you're offered, I'm here.
Yeah, he pulled me aside after the camp and he was like, I want you on my team. And then he brought my family over and he offered me. And then we ended up going back home, and I'd say I posted that I got the offer, and about an hour or two later, I had Arkansas call, Iowa State, just a bunch of schools from the Big 12. But we all kind of pushed them aside, and I kind of sat on it for a week just to make sure it was good with my family, and all of them loved it, and we all agreed that that'd be the best fit for me right now. So I'm going to Kansas.
Now, Kansas, they're definitely putting an importance on recruiting Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Deuce up at Owasso, Krishan Brown
Yeah.
at Booker T. Washington, some local Tulsa guys that are already committed to Kansas. Have you reached out to them at all? I know you probably have a natural rivalry with Deuce, being a Union Owasso plus wide receiver and corner. But have you reached out to those guys and started that relationship?
Yeah, I've talked to Deuce a little bit on social media and stuff. I get to talk to him almost every day. We have a group chat for the 2020 commits at Kansas. And then last week when I went on my visit, I saw Krishan there, and I talked to him for a bit, and we just talked about how we thought our seasons were going to go. And so I think we're starting to connect, but I mean, we're still going to get to play each other, but it'll be cool though.
Now, Kansas, obviously, before Coach Miles took over, it's been a bit of a down program. They've had some losing seasons, and now with Coach Miles taking over, obviously the expectation is for him to turn things around in a pretty quick way. What have you seen from visiting, from going to practices, things like that, that leads you to believe that this is about to turn around in a big way for KU?
Just everybody that he brought in, he brought in well-known coaches that have won at other places, and he brought one of the best receiver coaches from Texas Tech. He got a special teams coach from Georgia. He's brought in an offense coordinator that has coached in the NFL for tons of years. So he's just bringing in a lot of people, and kids are starting to buy into what he's done, because he's already won national championships, so they know what he can do. And just the whole school, whenever you go up there, everybody's buying it. Everybody's talking about Kansas football, and I think they'll turn it around pretty fast.
All right, let's talk about this season coming up. Class 6A1, obviously Broken Arrow, defending champs. Jinx made it to the title game. Owasso going to be right there, and of course Union, the Big Four in Tulsa, are going to be in the mix once again. What has to happen for Union to not only make it back to a championship game, but to win the whole thing this year? Because when I look at 6A1, all four Tulsa area schools have new quarterbacks. It looks pretty wide open right now. What has to happen for Union to be raising the gold ball come December?
We definitely have all the talent in the world. We just have to have everybody buy in. We have a lot of new young kids coming in, and they have to get with the program. But a lot of the kids have started to do that. Everybody's starting to buy in. Like, this is what we're expected. We're expected to go to state every year and win it, and we don't want anything less than that.
Kyler, thank you for sitting down with me today. Good luck to you and the Redskins this fall, and congratulations on your commitment to KU.
Thank you.
He's Kyler Pearson. I'm Michael Knight, and this has been another episode of the OKPreps Verbal Commit.